Hello everyone, GeneralApple here, and today I would like to talk with you guys about why card games are dying. Now, I believe the last time I made this type of video is whenever I made my Why I Quit Magic the Gathering video, which was, I believe, over a month ago at this point. And this video turned out to be great because so many of you guys spoke up and shared your insights and opinion with me, and we got to have a discourse in the comments, and I enjoyed it a lot, so I plan to do the same now. But this time I'll be aiming to a way broader audience because I'm going to talk to all of you card game fans out there. Now, before we get into the video, if you're gonna see some weird cuts here and there, it's probably because my English isn't the best and I am going to fumble a word or two. And, I will cut those out, those moments out for your user experience, for the best experience and pleasure. So, yeah, if you're gonna see some weird cuts here and there, that's probably the reason why. Now, before we even begin, a bit of context about myself, a bit of information. I'm a huge card gamer, competitive and non-competitive card game alike. I've played Hearthstone for years, ever since the game was released, all up the way until Descent of Dragons, after which I quit and moved to Legends of Runeterra, which unfortunately, as some of you may know, the game has died, and that made me go into Magic the Gathering, which unfortunately I've quit as well. And yeah, that's basically it. So now to the subject, why card games are dying. Well, I guess we can start with going on why I started to make this video in the first place, right? I mean, I've been sitting on this idea for quite some time, but I never really gotten into making a video about it, simply because I'm more of a gameplay first type of guy. I like to upload gameplay more than anything. And making this type of video, while I do really enjoy them and I love interacting with you guys, is kind of making me sad because the state of card games is really, really bad right now. It's honestly really, really poor state. And making this type of videos kind of make me sad. But that being said, I do like sharing my opinions with you guys because it makes me feel better, and also I would like to think that it makes you feel better as well. So I guess we can go from just the beginning, right? What kickstarted me to make this video, what gave me that final kick I needed to actually, make this video, is one of my most favorite Hearthstone creator at the time whenever I played Hearthstone, named Ecor100. You can see the video right here. Goodbye Hearthstone, and thank you. This is a really awesome content creator. I used to watch him a lot whenever I played Hearthstone, and I was a beginner. Hearthstone was my first card game, so I really didn't have any idea what I was doing. This guy videos helped me a lot. He's an incredible content creator, and if you want to know the specific of why did he quit, make sure to check his video out and leaving a like, because he's a really awesome content creator, and I'm sure he's going to do great with whatever he's going to continue on doing. And yeah, so basically the reason that I've quit Hearthstone, as I said, I played for years, was two reasons. One was the monetization, the second was being the design. Now we're gonna talk briefly about the monetization because it kind of relates to the big picture we're gonna talk about later about all card games and the correlation between them. Basically Hearthstone is a Blizzard game, and if you know Blizzard game, Blizzard is a garbage company, straight up, plain and simple. I'm just gonna say it, lay it out flat. And yeah, the monetization was one of the most abysmal and greedy monetization I've ever seen in my entire life in a video game, and especially when it's a digital card game. I mean, that's, brother. I mean, at the time, I don't know if Blizzard have upped the prices ever since I quit, but at the time when I played, the most expensive bundle to a new expansion was $80, and I used to purchase them all the time because I really did enjoy Hearthstone. It was a really fun card game. I played it for years for a reason. And yeah, whenever someone has made the calculations, but I believe if I'm somewhere right about the percentage, whenever you bought the most expensive bundles, you would have gotten 100 packs, which only gave you around 60% of the cards from the new expansion, which is abysmal. That means you need to waste $160 to get the entire expansion. And I'm not even sure I'm right about the calculation. Someone have made the calculation, but I forgot. And yeah, that's abysmal. Either way you look at it, if you're paying $80 for, support your company, and by all means, if this is a free card game and you enjoy it, you should support the company. But $80 to get like what, 50 or 60% of cards? And most of them aren't even legendaries, because getting legendaries in Hearthstone was such a grueling task because they were so overpriced in terms of dust. Dust is the currency you use to purchase card with. And getting a legendary was such a low percent, which I believe Blizzard made a thing where if you open 40 packs, you get legendary guaranteed. But I mean, 40 packs, so what? If you open 100 packs, you will get 2 legendaries guaranteed out of so many legendaries that comes out whenever there's a new expansion. And you don't even guarantee to get a good legendary. You can get a trash legendary that never sees play. It is so bad. It was such a bad monetization. I honestly couldn't afford to take it, like literally afford to take it any longer. But that wasn't all that drive me to quit the game. As I said, there was a second reason, which was the design. Now, if you don't know, Hearthstone was made by Ben Brode. Well, not was made by him. It was the director. It was the lead designer, I believe. And whenever he was in charge, the game, was fun to play. It wasn't bad. It was really fun. The monetization was bad, but if you did end up coughing up the dollars from your wallet, you had your decks and you had all of the cards. The game was great. It was fun to play. It was interactive as much as it could have been because, if you know how Hearthstone works, it's not really an interactive game. But it was as much fun as you can get from a card game. And that was enough for me. I enjoyed it a lot. But whenever Ben Brode quit, the game design just deteriorated completely. It became like this kiddie version of a game where every expansion is sort of, meant for kids. It completely lost its serious tone because Hearthstone is based on World of Warcraft, and World of Warcraft used to be a serious game, and it really lost its serious tone, and that's a design shift I really didn't like. And also the card design itself was atrocious. Whenever I quit, it was Descent of Dragons, an expansion that revolved around Galakrond. Now, I'm not gonna go into details because I don't want to bore you guys who never played a Hearthstone with them, but basically Galakrond had multiple cards, depends on which class you play them in. And Galakrond Shaman is a thing that if you say to a Hearthstone player today, it will still, it will cause shivers down his spine and probably a seizure or a heart attack, because Galakrond Shaman would go down in history as one of the worst decks ever to be printed in Hearthstone history. It was that garbage. It was called a mid-range Galakrond, but it wasn't really mid-range. It was just insane value under the guise of mid-range. You couldn't really do anything. Every single card you played had different effects and so many powerful, just 2-for-1 effects. And it felt so horrible to play against, especially with Evolve and stuff like this. It was crazy. It was crazy expansion, and honestly, it was the final nail in the coffin for me. So that's why I ended up quitting. And don't even get me started on Shadowrock, because Shadowrock design is, I swear to God, whoever designed it should, never design a card game ever. But yeah, so that basically was it with Hearthstone for me. And after that, I went to Legends of Runeterra, which, as you know, has the best monetization ever to exist in a card game. And I believe no card game would ever have such generous and user-friendly monetization ever again. And that's kind of make me sad, because the monetization is so good, and this is the only game I'm going to talk about here that died, that actually died. The one game with the best monetization had died, which is insane to me, because it just goes to show that maybe the greediest companies and the greediest card games are actually the ones that succeed. And that is so unfortunate for the industry as a whole, because it just goes to show that if you make greedy card game, some people are so sad that we're gonna wail in on it and keep it alive. And that is so bad, because it enforces a design that, caters to the whales and not to the general public that plays the card game. And that is honestly annoying, because you can clearly see it with card game design. I mean, you could have clearly see it with Hearthstone, the most poppiest thing, like only aggro decks. As far as I remember, aggro decks has been so prevalent in Hearthstone. They were always S tier. And the reason aggro decks are so great is because they're quick to pick up and you don't really need to think when you play them. And I know I hate aggro. I'm an aggro hater. But I believe aggro is good for a card game, but whenever it's this prevalent in a card game and no other archetype has ever seen as much play as this archetype has, we have a problem. I mean, Hearthstone has been aggro-oriented ever since its release, and you'll be a fool to think otherwise, and it simply caters to the whales that want to smash you with their expensive aggro cards and do all that shenaniganry. And that's just annoying. And Legends of Runeterra wasn't catering to anyone. It was a game that says, hey, take all the cards you need, build whatever you want to play, you have absolute freedom over your decks, and this was honestly the best a card game like me, a deck builder, could ever ask for. That's a dream coming true. And unfortunately, the game design was so bad and the monetization was so poor that people have ended up, quitting, and not enough money was coming in. And unfortunately, the game was dead. The game isn't dead. They just shifted their focus to PvE entirely. The PvP aspect of it is dead, and they sort of made it a Slay the Spire type of game, which is, not my cup of tea. I'm a PvP player at heart. So yeah, that's how Legends of Runeterra has died and why I've quit playing it. And in terms of Magic the Gathering, I already spoke about it in the video before that, and yeah, just a quick summary. Basically, monetization is still kind of bad. It's not Hearthstone level of bad, but it is really, really bad and greedy. And I swear to the gods above, why their client is so goddamn trash. I mean, come on, at least Hearthstone had the decency to put up a good client, and Hearthstone client considered to be trash, okay? Relatively to Magic, compared to Magic the Gathering client, man, Hearthstone client is the best. I mean, I've never in my entire life seen a client to take more than 30 seconds to come online. It's insane. Whenever I see this circle just slowly picking up on screen, I lose my mind. I press play, and I see this circle over and over again for like 5 seconds before it actually starts putting me into a queue. It's insane. It's insane. Why is it so slow? I know the client was made a few years ago, but come on, update it, make it faster. I mean, come on, dude. Legends of Runeterra client was so goddamn fast. I honestly can't believe a company such as Wizards, which swimming in gold, okay? They're swimming in cash. Alright, Hasbro has tons of money. I refuse to believe they cannot make a decent, fast client. I refuse to believe that. So on a basic fundamental level, their client should be way better than what it is now. This is so inappropriate. And in terms of general design, I mean, I don't expect every card game should be like Legends of Runeterra, where animation, voice acting, all of this type of stuff were the best of the best. I'm not expecting that. But I'm expecting basic animation, such as Hearthstone. I think Hearthstone made a really good, I don't know, like, thing in terms of designing their cards animation. I think their animations are clean and simple. That being said, I still like Legends of Runeterra exaggerated animation, because that's, me as a player. But I definitely heard a lot of people disagreeing with that. I know Brian Kibler, he's a Hearthstone popular streamer and content creator, have made a really great example of Legends of Runeterra animation being a bit too over the top. Personally, I disagree with him, but that's a matter of opinion. Now, Hearthstone animations, while being relatively simple and clean, they're still really great. I always enjoy them, and they always have a little music that came in whenever you played Legendary, which I always loved about Hearthstone. I still listen to some of the Legendary interaction. I love all of them. And that's really incredible. I mean, some of them are truly fantastic. Like, Tyrion and all of these kind of units, legendary units. If you played Hearthstone, you know. But basically, Magic the Gathering has the absolute bare bones animation I've ever seen. It's like they did the bare minimum they could do to basically just start charging money off of you. That's basically all they ever did. And Wizards is, I don't know how they're sitting on such a great card game and messing up this much. Now, that was all in terms of like monetization and design. Now, in terms of card design, I think Wizards is, kind of lacking in recent times. I think some expansions are great, some expansions are Most expansions in recent times were kind of bad because of, the cheap cards just basically starting to do everything. But I think older formats in Magic are awesome, so there is a lot to be spoken in terms of card design. Also, I haven't been playing Magic for that much time to talk with you about that, but with that in mind, the card design in Magic has deteriorated so much that so many good content creators have stopped playing. One of them, notably known as CGB. This is the guy, awesome content creator. He still uploads content for Magic, but he completely quit Standard as far as I realize. He more play Commander right now, and he plays all of different formats. He's not really playing Standard anymore, as you can see right here. There is a video where he talks about why he quit, and I believe it's further down the line. We're not going to go into that, but this guy is incredible content creator, which is a huge loss for Magic the Gathering Standard because he haven't quit playing Magic. And he talks about why the game design has shifted and why it feels so bad at the moment. But yeah, as you can see, we're starting to connect the dots. Why card games are failing. We spoke about every single individual card game, and we're starting to see a correlation between them, right? One is monetization, whether it be poor or, too poor or too expensive. Well, too generous or too expensive, that's what I should say. We can see the correlation between those two. Monetization is important, and clearly the greediest games have survived. Hearthstone, Magic, they all survived while Legends of Runeterra died. And the reason is because catering to whales seems way more important to actually make us, the crowd, the crowd that defends the really love card games, support the game. And I think, honest to God, I think the fault lies within us. So, some of the fault lies within us, the card game fans, because we don't spend money on the card game we enjoy. I mean, if we all spent money on Legends of Runeterra skin, the game would have lived today. But unfortunately, card gamers, I think, inherently are greedy. We want to make the best out, the best out of the card game while spending the least amount of money out of it, even though we really like it. And I think that mentality is kind of bad for card games in general. And I know this might be a hot take, but that's honestly what I feel. I'm still salty about Legends of Runeterra dying for sure, but that's just my opinion. And yeah, I feel like if we were being more generous toward card games, we wouldn't have been robbed out of our favorite card games. And card games, that still be alive today, that are still alive today, wouldn't cater to the whales, right? To the people that willing to pay the money. I think that if all of us would spend a little more money out of our pockets to support our favorite games, they would be better. They would definitely be better. But again, this is like a hot take, I'm pretty sure. So you're more than welcome to disagree with me in the comments. But this is in terms of monetization. In terms of design, I think card game, again, just got to the point, especially digital one. Magic is kind of different in that regard, so I'm gonna only talk about digital card games. I think digital card game design has been deteriorating a lot. I think more of digital card games have pivoted to this explosive type of cards, like 2-for-1, do all of this for that. Like do this, like long text, all of that. And we've shifted from having a simple card with simple text to just, having this explosive finishers like OTKs, super extremely fast aggro decks. And we've shifted from the core design of having aggro, mid-range control, and etc. And that is bad for card games. I think card games died simply because of people quitting playing them. I think a good example for it would be Flesh and Blood, which is a breath of fresh air. It works completely different from any other competitive card game you ever seen. I honestly wish there would be a digital client for this game, but obviously that's not going to happen because they... the reason they made Flesh and Blood and called it Flesh and Blood in the first place was because they want to make it a real life thing and never digitize it. So that's unfortunate, but I honestly rooting for this card game to succeed even more. But yeah, card game design just has shifted a lot to clearly not be user-friendly and not appeal to everyone. You clearly cater to a certain type of audience, which is the whales that usually likes this explosive finisher and aggro decks, and I think that's what killed card games, and whenever you're not appealing to this type of crowd, you will just die immediately. And that's why I think card games in general is just dying. It's just a dying genre. Nobody is willing to make card games anymore. And if someone is willing to make card games, they just die out because not enough people supporting them, which connects to the point that I just said before, that we're not supporting the card games that we really like. And that's unfortunate because I'm dying to play a card game, and unfortunately none of the current card games on the market seems appealing to me, because it's either the gameplay is absolutely garbage or the monetization is abhorrent. And yeah, I don't want to support any of these type of games, and I think that, this makes me sad because card games are such a niche that nobody is willing to make them. I mean, you see a shooter game pops up every single month, right? Every single month of the year, you see like a new shooter game. And I know there was a time when MOBA was a thing, so a lot of people did MOBA games. Now people are on battle royale still. So yeah, you see these type of games popping up a lot, and you can just clearly tell that nobody want to make a card game anymore unless it's the most financially beneficial thing for them to do. The literally most greediest, money-hungry card game you can ever imagine, designed simply to squeeze every last dime out of you. Nobody will ever consider making it, and it is so unfortunate in today's age because we card games would never see another good card game again. At least that's how it feels like to me. And you can clearly tell that this is the case from looking at the most recent card game competitor and success, Marvel Snap, which is the new kid on the block, right? Marvel Snap monetization, I honestly couldn't even call it bad. It's just straight up evil. I've never in my entire life, at least as far as I know of, seen any single card game being paid to win. You can argue that Hearthstone is kind of pay to win because you need to pay so much money to get the cards, but at least in Hearthstone you can create every single card you want by dust. I mean, in Marvel Snap, you literally are being kept behind a paywall for a whole month. Whenever a new card comes out, whenever a new expansion comes out, there's one card they unlock, they can only be unlocked behind a paywall. That is insane. That is unheard of. No other card game, as far as I know of, has ever done such a thing. This is insanity. And what would you know? Marvel Snap is probably the most successful card game in the market right now. I believe it won so many awards. One of them was being Best Mobile Card Game of the Year, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, little to no surprise, this card probably makes millions upon millions. They make a lot of money. I don't know the exacts, but I'm sure you can check them out if they ever publish it. And this is insane. It just goes to show that catering to whales works, but I don't think it works for the long term. I mean, Magic the Gathering only survived for 30 years because it catered for everybody. New players, old players, young, old. It didn't matter. If you want to play Magic, you can jump and play it. And that, I think, what made Magic the Gathering so great until recent times, where they started to clearly cater to whales, and you can clearly see it with their lame card design and with the fact that every single pack is filled with garbage mythics. They're just here to dilute the mythic pool. And of course, how they packaged their cards changed, and they made it so you wouldn't get mythic as often. Yeah, it's honestly garbage the way Wizard of the Coast and Hasbro has been dealing with everything, and clearly has been catering to whales to make a quick buck. And that's unfortunate because I think that the end, the conclusion of this video is the reason why I think card games are dying. That is the reason why they're dying. Basically, catering to whales, the worst audience ever imaginable. People that just have an insane amount of money and willing to spend it over anything, and they're not catering to the broader audience. That is basically the point I was trying to make this, for over 30 minutes now. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And I feel, if you were to ask me about the future of card games, Am I positive? Am I negative about this? I honestly think there's no hope for card games. This is my honest to God opinions. I don't think, it's not doom thinking. I just think that as far as I've seen in recent times, this is just reality. No one want to make a card game anymore unless it's, super financially beneficial. All the big companies that are making card game clearly wanted to make it as greedy as possible, and the one card game that didn't do that failed, just died outright. So if I think there is a future for card games, sure, there might be somewhere, somewhere down the line, years from now, where us card game lovers would, someone would make a card game for us, and it will be financially beneficial for him as well. But I honestly think that we as card gamer, whenever we see a card game like this pop up in the future, we should support it. I truly believe that we should support. If we ever see a card game like Legends of Frontera, please do not let it fail like Legends of Frontera did. If anyone makes a card game that would be fun to play and aim to a broader audience and not just a small percentage of the population, just whales, we should support it. We should group up and support it and give it all the love and affection as we possibly can. And yeah, that's pretty much, I believe, I got this out of my chest. I believe that is the end of the video. I'm sorry it turned out to be this long. I really tried to make it 20 minutes, around 20 minutes, but I ended up just, talking my heart out. Hopefully I was coherent enough so you can understand me. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this video as much as I have, making it, because talking to you guys is always incredible. That being said, I would like you to comment and share your opinions, because the whole point of making this video is you guys commenting and me replying to every single comment. If you did enjoy this video, please consider like and subscribing. I'm starting to make some new content on this channel, which is not card game related. And yeah, that's basically all there is to it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.